Mike Pendleton here with SureDog.com and the On the Mic podcast. And with all the changes that PFL has made in 2026, all the new places they're going to, San Diego coming up, Austin, Texas coming up with one of the best matchups we'll see in a middleweight title fight rematch between Johnny Eblen and Costello Van Steenis for the belt. They did one thing right. They picked up the phone. They got her back because you can always go home. And I'm talking about my guest today, Louise McKie, former Bellator ring card girl, now back with the PFL and the PFL Smart Cage. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Even better. We've got some amazing fights to look forward to.
We really, really do. And I'm looking forward to this conversation because it is different. I sit here each and every week and I talk to PFL fighters, coaches, and everyone just wants to punch everybody in the face. But I think so do you, because you also. I was gonna say because you also have gotten into not just working in combat sports, but also training and being a part of it. And I think that's something for so long. Like on some sides, they would say if you do a podcast or if you think you're a journalist, you have to get punched in the face. You have to understand the sport. So what was your kind of motivation besides the fitness aspect of it of getting into martial arts training?
I think the basis of what you've just said there is kind of what initially started that fire in me. Obviously, I joined Bellator in the European Series back in 2019. I was 19 at the time when I first started. I was very young. And after traveling around with them for a while, I always loved the sport. It's always something I grew up watching on TV. But really diving deep into the behind the scenes, it was questionable. I was like, I don't know why some of these people do it. You see the weight cuts behind the scenes. They're not always fun. You see a completely different side to what a lot of people see on TV or when they just turn up to fight night. So I think diving deeper into that and really getting an idea of why the fighters do what they do and put themselves through that dedication and jumping into the sport myself definitely gave me a better understanding. And I totally understand now why it's addictive and why the sport is loved so much.
Well, then I'm gonna have a little rapid fire here for you on just the combat sports side. Do you said you grew up watching it? Do you remember the first fight you watched in MMA?
Oh, wow. Honestly, no. No. I wish I could say there was like a standstill moment where I was really like, wow. It was just always something that was on the TV. So I think coming into the European side of things, I didn't expect it to take off as much as it did. It was super exciting. I was like, what do you mean? I get to go like front row and watch these fights and I don't have to pay for it and I can enjoy myself. And I think I didn't take it very seriously at the beginning of the career. I very much question how I still had my job after a few months. And me and the team, old Bellator team, still talk about this because I was a little crazy back then. So yeah, we do question why I still had my job after a few months, but I did. And it's been almost 7 long years and I love it.
Well, you can't say that and not expect me to ask. I mean, you said you were a little crazy back then. Well, what happened? I mean, you don't have to go into full detail, but I've got to know, like, obviously you've been around for 7 years for a reason.
Well, I think at the beginning it may have just been the comedy aspect. I did develop the name of Frank the Tank for a while. So I think I just didn't really have that much of a filter and I wasn't very shy. So I think, yeah, I just let loose at the beginning. I've definitely grew up now. I can still have fun. But I'm a little more humble and chill than when I used to be.
Well, you're living out everyone's dream, right? Like, obviously, you're there for a reason. You sit front row, like you said. You don't have to pay for a ticket. Sometimes I'm begging to get into the front door at PFL shows, and I cover the damn thing. So it would be
Yeah.
you'd be kind of amazed to see how many people are like, "No, you don't work in media. We don't have a high chair for you. Sorry, you can't come in here." So I get it. I get it. I could understand the excitement of being around the sport. All right. So the other one is, do you have a favorite all-time Bellator or PFL event?
Event?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's funny because there's a few that I can name that really stand out, but for different reasons. I think initially when Bellator collabed with Ryzen over in Japan, that gave me a whole different outlook on the sport because of the fan base. The fan base is completely different to what you see in Europe, to what you see in America. the way they treat the athletes and like the team as a whole. I remember going to Japan and thinking, wow, I could never be like a famous superstar, because the way these fans treat the athletes is like insane. There was like people lining up outside the hotel, like you couldn't move. It was super, super passionate, and the way they support the event, like I say, it's very different at the States. It's rowdy in Europe, it's rowdy over here in the States. It is quiet in Japan. You can hear both sides of the cage. You can hear what's going on in each corner, because everyone is still quiet, concentrating on the fight, which is a completely different experience to anywhere I've ever been before.
I love that. By the way, you are a celebrity. Just don't sell yourself short, right? Like, all right, we see your following. We know all that you do. You got a rounding like welcome back from Sean O'Connell on the broadcast in Sioux Falls. So don't sell yourself short. We know the celebrity status. I'm thankful to have your celebrity status here, but it's just a career that's so different. And I'll start before we really talk about you, because that is the basis of why we're talking. What led you to going down this path? We know how you got started, but how did you wind up back with the PFL?
I don't think it was necessarily like a whole coming back. At the very beginning, when PFL acquired Bellator, I was still there. There was a contract signed, deals were made, and I guess it was a little bit of a break. I think now what people can expect within the organization is there is going to be a couple of changes. There is dynamics moving now that are slightly different to how they were before, when it was just PFL. I know now some of the older Bellator team are kind of coming back in, and that's really exciting, because my experience with Bellator was absolutely incredible. I had the best 6 years of my life. I traveled the world. So it's really exciting to see that dynamic and kind of see how things are going to unfold over the next couple of years.
I love that. And you talk about like just where you're at and the kind of behind the scenes that you get. We all know why you're there. You have a specific job to do. It is very much for the crowd or the viewer at home. But there's also a side that you get to see. You've mentioned even earlier in this podcast, you mentioned weight cutting, right? So you truly do see day in and day out a lot of what fans and sometimes media don't get to see. So from your perspective on fight night, what is the one thing that you think you get to experience that most fans wouldn't expect from your seat
On fight night, or
on
the
fight
lead
night?
up to
On fight
on
night.
fight night? Honestly, probably just a team as a whole pulling together. Obviously the athletes are incredible. We wouldn't be here without them, but there is so many dynamics behind the scenes, and like production, the entire team, media, as you know, they go hand in hand. So I think I get that aspect and kind of seeing the dynamic, and then just being back in the locker rooms. Like I think coming into Bellator, PFL, whatever, it shocked a lot of people because I like to be involved. So whenever I have the chance, like I will pop in on the official wins, or I'll pop in the locker rooms and I'm like, how's this guy doing? All right, how's it feeling? And obviously over the years, I've built really good relationships with a lot of the coaches. So I'll check in obviously with the athletes and see how they're doing. And it's exciting. I think originally in the sport, it was kind of seen as like, you can't be biased, you can't have a favorite, like you're impartial and you're there to do a job. But honestly, I think it's a load of bollocks. Like, of course, like I love the sport. Anyone who enjoys the sport and likes it, you're going to have a passion for it, and you're going to be rooting for some people more than others, or build a better relationship with other people, enjoy different types of fight styles. So, yeah, that side of it I love, because I build really good relationships within the industry.
Luis, do you want to just start covering the sport? Honestly, I love the way, and this is why I was so excited to get this opportunity to talk to you, because I knew it was going to be different, right? Because some would just say a smart cage, octagon, ring girl. Oh, one thing. There's only one thing you can talk about. But there are so many layers to you, and
Oh no, I'm invested. I think that's what shocks a lot of people. They expect me to stand there and look good. I actually am invested in the sport. obviously I moved to Vegas since moving to the States. I do 50-50 between California and Vegas. Train out of Xtreme. So you'll see me there on a Tuesday when the pros are sparring. I'll be sat in the corner like a little pervert, just checking everyone out, seeing how they're doing.
I absolutely love that. And I'm gonna just throw it out there now. I think you and I, if you're willing, should do more shows like this, especially around big events for the PFL, because I would
Absolutely.
absolutely love. And if we're ever at the same event together, we got to sit down and do a sit down show, because I think the fans would eat it up, because your perspective is so much different. And I think that's the beauty of what you do on both sides. Before we get to that, I do want to ask you, because you mentioned it and it was on my list to ask you about training at Xtreme Couture. There's two things here I'm going to talk about. One, it's very personal to me, although we've lost contact over the last few years. Eric Nicksick is a guy who understands like the value of a human being, no matter
Yeah.
what you are. But also, once you put those gloves on and walk into his gym, you're not like, there's no easy way out. So what is it like training with, or having someone like Eric work with you,
Yeah.
embrace you for who you are and all that you do?
I honestly, I'll start by saying I can't praise Eric enough. He gives us a lot of shit day in and day out. But he is hands down one of the best people I've come across. I think moving to Vegas, and it is hard moving to a completely different country. Eric was there from the beginning. He got me set up in Xtreme. He got me connections at other gyms. He's actually flying into California this week. He's got Francis's camp coming up. I'm going to go check in on their camp after this meeting. So I'll be driving up north to see how they're doing. But Eric's amazing, honestly. I absolutely love training with him. I have another coach there, Juan. But he's absolutely phenomenal. I think his coaching style's fantastic. You'll be able to see that. It speaks for itself. Look at the past weekend with Sean Strickland. I think Sean's come on massively in the last two fights in comparison to how he was previously. So yeah, I'm always rooting for Eric, and I think he's an absolute great addition and coach to the sport.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You did mention it, so I will ask you about it very quickly. Were you shocked by the result we saw from Sean Strickland over this past weekend?
Gonna be honest, I was out with friends. I was supposed to be in New Jersey for this fight, and I'd had to cancel last minute because of work. So I was very disappointed, and I made everyone sit down and watch the fight and drove everyone crazy over it while I screamed at my phone screen. No, I wasn't shocked. I liked the way the fight went. I think a lot of people potentially thought Sean might have been the undercard. I don't disagree with the score, and I know some people are disagreeing with it. I don't disagree at all. I thought it was a good fight. I thought he's performed really well in his last two fights. Yeah, I was super excited about it. I'm just sad I'm not in the gym this week.
And like a true martial artist, like, and that just kind of leads me to the biggest thing I wanted to talk to you about, which is there's so much of a one-sided opinion and narrative on both what you do and what we're both there for, right? So when you look at whether it be your modeling career or being a ring card girl or cage girl, they just look at the beautification of a human being. Right? They
Yeah.
just look, you're there for one simple reason. It's to make everyone smile and present more beauty to the broadcast. Well, on the other side, you have a combat sports athlete, a mixed martial artist who is there to one thing, entertain the fans. We don't care if you break a bone or whatever happens to your face. As long as I got my money's worth, I'm entertained. I think
Yeah.
there's such a story here that you can talk about being involved in both of the human element side of what you do on both sides, both, training in martial arts and what you do on fight night. Would you like for the fans to really realize that, listen, I'm not just there as a prop. Like, I'm invested. I love this shit.
I think what people have got to understand, like since the beginning of mixed martial arts, Octagon girls have been there from the very beginning, and I think that is just part of the sport, and I don't think there's any reason for that to be discarded. I do like the element that I can bring to the fans and people watching, where I can maybe talk a little bit more about the sport. I can speak to the fans and ask, like, who are you rooting for tonight? What do you how do you think this is going to go? I like that I am able to have an opinion and discuss the sport with people. I think that shocks people because they don't expect it. But I also like that I can give like an insight of like behind the scenes, especially on social media. I like being there and being able, and I hope people begin to see that. Obviously, it adds a little bit more than just standing there and being like, "Hi," like that is maybe a little bit exciting because they get to see stuff that they maybe wouldn't see just on fight night or just on social media or whatever the promotion pushes out.
And that's what I would love. I would love to every time I will see it on your socials moving forward, I'll pump it out and promote it as well because that's the part of it. Like you said, you could just stand there and you could just do the job, right? But your investment, I think, is so crucial to the growth of whether it be the PFL, your career, or both. So you said you like talking about fights. So let's talk about some fights. As someone who splits their time between California and Las Vegas, I
Yeah.
have to tell you, jealous so far because you live in both
I don't
places.
know if you've seen my schedule. I'm not sure you would be jealous. I drive every single week and I spend half my life in a car, but we'll go.
I still jealous. But the PFL is back in San Diego, and here's the biggest reason to be jealous. Number one, I've never been to California, so
Okay.
I do have a reason to want to go because AJ McKie is
Amazing.
back inside the smart cage. I have to ask you this because there is an element here that is so overlooked sometimes, and I think you can bring some life to it. AJ McKie, former world champion, you see him climb the mountaintop at Bellator, but he's back home. Take me inside your vantage point. Come fight night. What is San Diego going to be like when AJ McKie walks out?
I mean, San Diego is one of those shows that we've done before, and the fan base is always fantastic. And it's nice when you're in a local area and you have the support of the crowd. AJ's a fantastic spot. Obviously, I seen him over in Sioux Falls. He was there. It was nice to see a familiar face again. So yeah, I'm rooting for him. I really, really am. And then obviously we've got Johnny Eblen as well coming up in Austin, Texas. As you probably seen, Johnny's been down training with Strickland at Xtreme. I think he's looking really, really good. He's been training with Eric as well. So I think we've got two really exciting main events coming up. And I think it's a lot for people to look forward to.
Going back to San Diego, because I 1000% think we're going to get in depth into the Austin main event. But going
Yeah.
back to San Diego, one thing that I've noticed, and I know it's not a comeback, right? You've always been here. But one thing I've noticed in 2026 is the new CEO, John Martin, he's leaning into who's on the damn roster. And it matters so much. Telling these fighters stories matters so much. The reason why you're here, I want you to tell your story today. It matters to me. But when you look at AJ McKie, and then in the co-main event, you have Liz Carmouche. So not only are you talking and telling these fighters stories, but you're giving the fans a reason to get up and go get a ticket and swarm the event. Do you like how the PFL is leaning into their fighters and where they're from?
100%. Yeah, I think it's super, super important. I think the dynamics of going from a tournament back to the original competition style of mixed martial arts is super important, and the fact that you have a home base to support that. I think definitely number one pushes the fan base. Number two, it's more exciting for the athletes. You'll speak to a lot of athletes, and if you ask them where they want to fight or who they want to fight, it is predominantly always the hometown because they want to put on a show. They want to ticket sales want to be good, for any organization. And I think when you have local talent fighting, I think it's very important to push the brand and also the athlete.
You did crack a huge smile when I said John Martin. So I know just getting reacquainted with him, the new man in charge. But do you like his presence? I've heard fighters, coaches, everyone, even behind the scenes, praising this man, sounding like someone who understands where this company needs to go. Any interactions with him, and do you like the changes he's made?
I do like the changes he's made. I think they're going to be really substantial in the sport and in this promotion. I think it is super, super important to have someone that actually enjoys the sport and likes it and is invested. I think you can tell night and day between someone that's there just for the business and someone that actually has a passion. And I think John has that. So I think it's super exciting to see that being brought into PFL.
Now, Louise, I don't want to speak for you, but
Yeah.
as soon as we started talking about locations, you brought up Austin, Texas. I'm jealous
Yeah.
because I've never been to California. So I guess I just got to ask you, if it's San Diego or it's Austin, which one are you booking a first class flight to?
Oh, Well, I don't know. I said I was going to drive to San Diego, so I suppose the first task going to have to be to Austin, Texas.
But I mean, there's plenty of reason, and the actual reason that we'll all be watching and all be in attendance is the middleweight title fight rematch. An
Yeah.
incredible fight, for my money, no matter who you were rooting for on that night. And I know
Mhm.
Johnny's pissed on how that night ended, but you could just take the name and the human element out of it. If it was just person getting that storybook, almost Hollywood ending that we got from Costello the first time, you couldn't
Yeah.
write it off any better. But the revenge factor for Johnny Eblen is even bigger. Is this the biggest fight you think the PFL has put on in their history?
I think within the middleweight division, yes. Yeah. I think it's going to be obviously, that animosity is there. Johnny's coming for the belt. He's fantastic in the middleweight division. One of our best athletes to come out of Bellator in the middleweight division, as you know, he was champ. So yeah, I think seeing him training. I don't know if you've seen the recent Sean Strickland interview. Sean himself said he'd be threatened if he was in the middleweight division within the UFC. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting fight.
Now you basically essentially have watched Johnny grow up as you've grown up, like you said, getting started at 19 years old. If you looked at the Johnny from your vantage point as someone who actually loves and appreciates the sport, from where Johnny was in Bellator to where he's about to be in Austin, Texas, what has been some of the things that have impressed you the most about the growth of Johnny Eblen?
I'll not just speak for Johnny on this one. I'll speak for a lot of the athletes across Bellator and PFL. I think it's the reason I like the organization is because you do really see the growth, and because I've been in it for so long now. Like I say, behind the scenes, you build that relationship. So you really see them develop physically and mentally. So, like, how they deal with the fights, how they deal with the wins, the losses, everything in between. I think it's really exciting seeing athletes progress. And that is probably one of the biggest perks for me working in the organization.
I love that. I love that. And we have, looking at the schedule, we have Brussels coming up. We've had Belfast earlier this year, Sioux Falls, which is where you are. I mean, Sioux Falls, what a great place. I mean, so many people lining up to go to Sioux Falls day in and day out. I love what
Yeah.
the PFL did, bring in Logan Storley there, right? That is the biggest attraction to Sioux
Yeah.
Falls is
Oh, yeah, we had
Logan.
a full sellout. It was fantastic. And amazing.
But for someone like yourself who has traveled so much in their life, if you had to, and this is kind of putting you on the spot, if you had to pick three cities for the PFL to go to at the end by the end of this year, we've got San Diego, we've got Austin. Where are three places you'd like to see the PFL touchdown?
Anywhere in the world or in America?
Anywhere, anywhere. You
Anywhere.
you pick it.
For selfish reasons, I really liked when we used to go to Italy. Milan was always a good card. A lot of fun, great memories made there. Obviously, Dublin never ever disappoints. I think the Irish crowd are crazy, super passionate people. So I think that's always a great one. One more place, let's think. I don't know. I'm trying not to drop in what I already know.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to.
Let's say somewhere international.
Somewhere else international.
Somewhere not in the States and somewhere not in Europe, I think would be fun.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, Italy, I'm as part Italian, I love that. And as part Irish, I also love Dublin. I have to ask you,
Okay.
so as someone who spent some time and, throughout your career in Bellator, I have said, and it's really carried over, if there's one thing I would compliment this company with the most, it is the Bellator shows in Ireland have transitioned over to the PFL shows in Ireland. I grew
Yes.
up here in the States and I love American football. But those shows, those MMA shows in Ireland are like my Super Bowl as a MMA fan. I love
Oh,
those
and I think as
crowds.
an MMA fan, if you want to experience a good show and a hell of a good crowd, you need to make your way to Dublin.
That's
That goes without question. And my parents, one of the first shows I actually took them to because I wanted them to experience a good time was Dublin 3 Arena.
I love that. That's what I was going to ask you. Can you speak to like what that atmosphere is like? Because you've been there. I have not. And to me, it just feels like from the music to the crowd. And it's not just the cheering or the boos, it's the energy they carry from fight one all the way through the main event. Can you
All
really
the
put
way.
into words what that crowd is like?
I mean, the crowd's not slowing down, that's for sure. It goes more and more as the night goes on. And like you say, from fight one till the main card, that crowd is going full force, super passionate people, sometimes a little too passionate. But I think that's what makes them them. And it is the energy. I think it's infectious. And I think that's why so many fighters love coming to fight in Ireland, because it's something that they haven't experienced before. And once you have experience, it's something you want to experience again, because nothing beats it.
1,000%. That's why it's on my bucket list as well. And I'm not a fighter. I am not a fighter. I definitely want to get over there. Luis, before I let you go, and I really appreciate you giving me this time, what is one thing through both jobs that you have, and you do a great job at all that you do, what is one thing you would like the fans to know about you that maybe they don't really realize or recognize in all that you do?
Oh wow, that's a tricky question. Um, Probably that I'm not as cool as what some people think. Like I'm really not that cool. I'm a little stupid, and I like to have fun. I never take anything too seriously. I'm a little sensitive, so I think maybe once you get to know me, I'm not the person you maybe suppose I am.
All right, so what is a day of having fun like for you?
Oh, well, first off, I definitely think I probably shouldn't have been born female, because as much as I present myself as being put together and hair and makeup and obviously the beauty element of it, getting down and dirty and I don't know, going discovering somewhere new or rolling around in the mud or doing something like I'm a very outdoorsy person. I love trying something new. I don't really have many fears, so I'll throw myself headfirst into anything. And my parents have always said since day one, you probably should have been born a boy.
I love that though, and thank you for sharing. Because again, like I told you when we were setting this up, my thing is I want people to get to know the story of you, right? And it's so easy to walk in and go, oh yeah, great. We see what her job is, and we love that, and that's the attraction of it. But the real attraction for me in this show is the human element side. So I appreciate that. What is your before I get you out of here? What is your favorite thing or the one thing you're most looking forward to now that the PFL has new ownership? They're making a lot of changes. What are you most excited about with the company?
The dynamic. I will say previously with Bellator had a fantastic dynamic, and I see that coming back. I see really good relationships behind the scenes with the team, not just with the athletes. So I think it's a super exciting time for PFL in this transition period, because I think there's a lot of potential for growth. And as you can see from the next two fights, I think this is just going to get better.
It is going to get so much better. It continues PFL San Diego coming up, and then we will have a great rematch at 185 pounds. I'm not going to ask you for a prediction, but Louise, I would absolutely love to have you back on, especially before the Austin show, because I think that card is going to be absolutely stacked. Nothing against San Diego, but I mean, you live in California, so I mean, why would I want to just keep repeating that? I really want to bring a lot of luster to the Austin show. We are talking on the week of a monumental week in combat sports, and that is the launch of MVP MMA. And I have to ask you, as a woman who has trained and invested in combat sports and MMA, who is your pick, Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano?
Oh God, don't do this to me. Um, Mixed opinions, so I'm not going to comment on that right now.
All right, I'll take that. I love that, Louise. Thank you so much.
Tuning in.
We will all be tuning in. The world will watch, and then on Netflix, it's a great opportunity. But that is neither here or there. We are moving towards a loaded summer for the PFL, highlighted by the rematch between Costello Van Steenis and Johnny Eblen. Louise, I cannot wait to see you continuing back with the PFL. Hopefully, get to run into you at an event, and really looking forward and excited that you're back with the company. And thank you for giving me the time today.
All sounds good. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Bye bye.